What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the show, man. Recap with Mo, where we're getting ready to get into a brand new episode breakdown of Tyler Perry's Sisters. But before we get into this thing, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit snip that's going down, alright? So the episode we're getting ready to get into is for season 8, episode number 5, titled Wounded Eros. Now, we kick this episode off where we left off at the hospital, where we see Andi is waiting on someone to give her an update on what's going on with Gary. So as she's pacing back and forth, we finally see a doctor coming around the corner. I believe his name is Dr. Lead. So as the doctor is walking by, Andi gets his attention, to find out what's going on with Andi, if he knew anything, what's going on. So just as Dr. Lead is actually conveying this information to her, here comes Hudson screaming from around the corner. Absolutely not. What are you doing? Why is she here? Now, the doctor is confused, because he then turns to Hudson and he's like, bruh, isn't this, Gary's fiance? And Hudson is like, yes, but she doesn't have authorization to hear about Gary's medical conditions because I'm the power of attorney. And I'm like, bro, you're doing a little bit too much, man. Like, what's really going on here, right? So anyhow, getting back to the story. So Dr. Lead apologizes and tells Andi that, she'll have to get any information or all the updates directly from Hudson, and he leaves, right? So as the good doctor is leaving, Hudson then turns to Andi and he's like, why are you still here? Because obviously seeing you made Gary even worse, right? So leave. Now, Andi tells him that she has every right to be there, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to raise my voice to make sure that I can cause some attention to come your direction, because I don't like the tone you taking with me, right? So Hudson is like, oh, so did your little boyfriend coach you on how to do Did he coach you on how to do that or whatnot? Talking about Robin. Now, Andi tells him that Robin is a friend and a colleague, and that's it. So now Hudson is like, oh, really? Like, for real, for real? You mean a colleague that had you on all fours? And I was like, oh, man, hold on. Listen, that was good right there. I'm sorry. I'm trying to... I wasn't trying to laugh. But anyhow, so Andi is now offended, right? So she attempts to smack Hudson, but Hudson catches that hand and he was like, oh, there's that temper, there's that anger. And if you had a knife in your hand, maybe you would have been stabbing me the same way that you did Gary. Now, Andi is like, now, I didn't do that. But Hudson is looking her dead in the eyes, talking about, I don't know if you did it or not. So I'm telling Andi, if she could hear me through the television, get up out of the hospital. Like, you been set up, sis. I don't know what to tell you. And for you to be an attorney, you're a dumb one. I don't know. Get the heck up out of there. Like, you've already done what Robin has told you to do. Now leave, right? So anyhow, from there, next we head over to the salon, where we see old girl threatening to file a lawsuit against Karen's new salon. Karen has to call a side meeting with Sister Pam. Pam tells Karen that her product didn't do that to old girl's head, right? But Karen is like, I knew it. I knew that I should have never allowed you to sell that product in my shop. And I'm like, sis, it's a little too late for that. Like... we here now, so you should have done that at the initial state when she first started pulling those bottles up out of your closet, up out of your wherever it was. You should have said, no, you need to get that stuff up out of here, but you didn't. So we are here now. So anyhow, while they're trying to figure out what to do, old girl is now going live on social media saying, roots to riches, wretch your edges. Roots to riches, wretch your edges. And I was like, oh, she got a little rapper. So it is what it is, man. So we'll get back on that in a moment. So anyhow, from there, we now head over to the law firm, where we see Brother Hayden coming into his office. And who does he see? Miss Marie sitting in his office with her back turned to him, right? So I was like, oh, Miss Marie got a new hairstyle. She trying to get some. Like, I already knew what it was, right? So anyhow, Hayden is like, what do you want? He wants to know why she's there. She tells him that, we have some business to discuss or whatnot. And he was like, no, we don't. And he goes on to say, I believe that we spoke about business the last time you were here or whatnot. So Miss Marie is like, bruh, are you really still mad about that whole situation about me back and Andi or whatnot? And she goes on to tell him that Andi saved her hundreds of millions of dollars. And Hayden is like, okay, but how's that working out for you? Like your girl, the future prisoner, how's that really working out for you? Like when I was the one giving you all those climaxes and breaking that back out, making you bat that thing up, how does it really feel? And she's like, look, that was just business, strictly business. But now I'm here to talk about something else. And of course, she leans across the desk. He leans forward. And I was like, bruh, you did all you did all that talking. And you man, let me move on, man. So anyhow, from there, we next head over to the bank, man, where we see Rich coming to see Sabrina. Now, initially, Rich tells her that he's coming to get a loan or whatnot. So, of course, Sabrina's like, is everything good? Is the business going well? What's really going on? How much do you need? He's like 100,000. And she was like, 100,000? He was like, yeah, 100,000 kisses. And I was like, okay, that's smooth, bruh. But anyhow, outside in the lobby, it ain't going too well. Maurice is over there at the counter, where you fill out the deposit slips or whatnot, trying to get a pen to work. And then he finds this little pen with some feathers and some stuff on it. And he was like, okay, it's pink, but it's working, right? So as he's getting ready to write, whatever he's doing, right, here comes Paige. Now, obviously, she's gotten her job back. I don't know why she's at this branch. But really, I just want to know, Tyler, why is she here? Why is she at this branch? Why is she on this show? But I guess... it is what it is. But she's coming down the steps fussing about a pen. She and Maurice go back and forth about this daggone pen, and I'm like, bro, just give her the daggone pen and just live to see another daggone day. But anyhow, they get to the point where they're going back and forth. Sabrina's hearing all of this stuff going on outside of her office, so of course she has to tell Rich to just hang tight. So she heads outside to see what's going on. They pretty much, they end up squashing it. But at the same time, I'm like, why is this even going on? Sabrina, do you have enough power to get rid of her, send her back to her branch? I believe you went down to a new branch. Go ahead and resolve this situation. This is not a great thing. I mean, I honestly feel like this is going to be a forever back and forth. Like, he's calling her meat mouth. And she's calling him a crook and a thief. Now, I'm like, man, this has to stop. So she sends her off to the break room. He's fussing that she sent her on a sabbatical. And I'm like, daggone, man, just leave it alone, bro. Just let it go. You're going to end up losing your job. And Sabrina has to tell this dude, like, do you want to go back on the OnlyFans? Is that it? Like the fan club, whatever it's called, right? So anyhow, going on from there, she gets back into her office. Rich is trying to take her out to eat. She tells him that she can't do it. She got too much going on. Definitely with those two out there in the lobby or whatnot. He was like, okay, cool. So as soon as he leaves, then we hear her phone ringing. So she picks it up, and it just so happens to be Danny, who's trying to meet up with her or whatnot, trying to see if she can come and meet her over his steam or whatnot. But Sabrina tells her that unfortunately she's not able to do it because she got too much going on here at the workplace. So anyhow, she finds out that Danny is at the bar drinking. So immediately Sabrina, closes her laptop or whatnot, gets up, grabs her purse, and is headed out. And I'm sitting there like, there goes my baby, right? Always thinking about her friends, man, like she's there for them. Like, that's what I love about Sabrina, man. So very supportive. So anyhow, from there, we now head back over to the law firm where we see Hayden and Miss Marie. So I'm going to keep this real nice and sweet, y'all. So Miss Marie, looking good. She's sitting on the desk now, got everything served up. And I could tell by the way she's looking with the hair flowing that she smells good too. Like, you can always tell when a woman is smelling good, feeling good about herself. And I was like, like... So Hayden is sitting there. So he's feeling himself like, you came all the way over here to crawl over here to get some of me. And she was like, no, don't flatter yourself. That's not what I'm over here for. But I'm like, at the same time, Miss Marie, you got to be honest. You're doing too much rubbing and touching. So I hear you when you say that's not what I'm here for. Probably not right now. But when that opportunity presents itself, Yeah, it's going down, right? So anyhow, she gives him this file folder. He's like, what is this? She tells him that it's a business proposal, of a company that she's investing in. She wants him to look over it, make sure everything is, tight and, up to par or whatnot. And he looks at it and he's like, so you invested in some daggone edge control? And he's like, really? Like, for real, for real? And she was like, look, I invested in two brilliant black entrepreneurs, two individuals that reminded me of myself when I was that age. So yes, I did. Something that you will never know anything about because you desire to invest your time and your money into gold diggers like the one you got at the crib. And I'm like, she'll be bad though. But anyhow, we head over to the new salon where we see Karen and Pam trying to figure out what to do next. The crowd is larger. People are in the room rapping that thing, Raz the riches, Raz the riches. I'm sorry. Not Raz the riches, Roots the riches, right? Roots the riches, wrecks your edges. So they going off. Now Karen is like, look, we cannot continue to have this going down. We're going to end up in the poorhouse eventually. Now, this is the thing about Pam. Pam says exactly what she feels, right? Which could be a great thing, but at this moment in time, it's not. Because right now, this is not the time to say it with your chest, right? Not your whole chest, just a little bit, right? But she tells old girl after she threatens to go get an attorney, Pam then turns around and tells her that they're not worried about her attorney because they got a good friend that's an attorney by the name of Andi Barnes. And I'm like, why are you telling her who your friend is? What if she decides to go get Andi Barnes? What if she decides to go get your friend? Who do you have? It's not Fatima. So, listen, you got to think before you speak, Pam. If you're going to be a business owner, you got to do that, sis. I don't know what you're thinking right now. So anyhow, from there, we now head over to see Andi at her apartment or whatnot. Now, Andi is struggling. She's reminiscent of the good times, seeing him with the cupcake coming up there. Everything was just so romantic at that point in time, right? Before everything started going downhill, right? So as she's dealing with that, she's struggling, trying to figure out why she continues to fall into the same types of situations with these dudes. Now, I've said multiple times before, but I'm not going to address this situation, completely because I want to do it, on another video where we can have the time to have that discussion. But I do feel that in order for Andi to really break free from this, she's going to have to change her habits. And I know she's stating that she would no longer allow a man to control her. But at the same time, you allow yourself to be controlled when you give yourself to him. And honestly, that's not just for women, that's for men as well. I mean, let's go back and look at what's his name real quick. Hayden was sprung on Tamara. He was believing everything Tamara was throwing at him because she was throwing that at him. So he was trapped. He was mesmerized. He couldn't think about nothing else but Tamara giving what she was giving to him. All the time she was playing him and still is playing him. And she's at home chilling while he's out working. Now, honestly, she could be at home working too. She could be doing the same thing. So, listen, we got to think about those things. And I think in order for Andi to really, get herself out of this situation, she has to think differently. Now, I'm going to make a second video on this and talk about this issue, this situation specifically. So we're not going to dive in this too much. But anyhow, let me know your thoughts down below. But anyhow, getting back to the story. So while Andi is standing there trying to figure out what's going on in her life, why she continues to go down these paths or whatnot, her phone rings. So she goes over to check the message or whatnot. Somebody is telling her that they need to talk to her, right? And she tells them that, hey, I'm at home. So they're telling her that they're on their way. So I'm sitting here like, you just had this whole little pep talk. Who in the heck is it? It better not be your brother coming over here and you mess up again. Like, we'll see. So anyhow, so from there we head back over to the law firm where we see Hayden and Miss Marie continuing their conversation. Now Hayden is having a hard time understanding why Miss Willis wants to invest in such a business such as Edges, right? He's like, well, I mean, I don't really understand why you want to do it. Woo, woo, woo. Your money, your loss. Now, she tells him that, look, I don't lose because I pay people such as yourself to make sure that it never happens, right? Now, he really wants to respond, but he can't really say nothing about it, right? So she goes on to tell Hayden that she could teach him some things in the boardroom as well as in the bedroom that will have him crawled up in the fetal position, sucking his thumb, calling out for his mama. So now he's like, look, we're not going to do that. Not today. And I'm sitting over there like, nope, not today. So anyhow, going on from there, she goes on to tell him that she's going to be contacting him, later on that day to find out what he thinks about the deal, what he was able to find out about the deal. Whoa. But before she actually leaves the room, she was like, you should be thanking me. So now he has that look on his face like, thanking you for what? And she tells him, Negro, your job. Like, I know you didn't think you were safe, with all that stuff that went down. Like, you should be thanking me because obviously she put in a good word for you to keep your job. So now she walks out. He's sitting over here pondering what has transpired. How did she say my job? What was stated? Whoop, whoop, whoop. So while he's doing all that thinking and whatnot, here comes Fatima coming into the office asking him what was all of that about. And I'm like, Fatima, that didn't have nothing to do with you. I know you're looking out for your girlfriend, Andi, but right now ain't the time. But we'll have to deal with this in a moment because now we got to head over to the restaurant where we see Sabrina coming in to check in on her good friend, Danny. Now, Danny is sitting at a table and Sabrina sits down and, Danny tells Sabrina that she's not for all the namaste stuff, but she's personally one that likes to fight things out or whatnot. She's a fighter. So Sabrina's like, okay, cool, but how is all of that working out for you right now? Now, Danny tells her that she's thriving, but also that she doesn't feel that this therapy thing is for her. And Sabrina's sitting there like, okay, so what's the problem? Now, she goes on to tell Sabrina that she feels that Tony is trying to change her. She also mentions something that caught my ear real quick when she states that she loves him, but I don't feel like I need to be the one to fix him. And I'm like, what? Like, fix him? Like, he got his issues, but I don't think, Danny, that he's looking for you to fix him. He's trying to get you to fix yourself. And I'm like, daggone. And I'm sitting here like, Sabrina, please speak some word into her. And Sabrina, my girl, is trying to assist her in some sort of way. She's trying to get some type of understanding of what's really going on with her. So finally, Sabrina's like, okay, what is it? Like, are you mad that he wants you to better yourself? And she was like, look, let me go ahead and tell you what it is. I want some sex. That's what I want. I want some vitamin D from my man or whatnot. Now, y'all already know how I feel about that, but we'll talk about that at a later date, right? Now, if all you're looking for from this man, as she states with her own two lips, is the D, then we got a problem, right? Because that's not all that we're good for. We like to give it, but at the same time, that's not all that we're good for. And it's crazy because Sabrina is trying to really figure out what's going on. She's like, girl, you got a dude that's looking out for your best interest. He's not just focused on your physical appearance. He's focused on your overall health. And I really want Danny to sit down with somebody, if it's not a friend, somebody that can just convey this information to her, the importance of it. Because if all you're looking for is a good time, shoot. There's plenty of dudes out there that will give you a good time, but never will show interest in anything else that you're concerned about. But Danny, if that's what you want, that's what you're going to get, right? So anyhow, from there, we head back over to the law firm where we see Fatima still asking Hayden what was all of that about. What were they talking about? He tells Fatima, don't you have a kid to be looking after? And I'm not talking about the one that don't talk. I'm talking about the one called Zach. And I'm sitting over here like, bro, you didn't have to say all of that because, the kids are off limits, bro. So, of course, now Fatima's leaning over the desk saying, she's like, you say one more thing, bro. And it's on. And I was like, no, it ain't. Because you got too much to lose in this situation. You got too much riding on this, Fatima. You're in school. You're trying to better yourself. And you trying to move up the ladder as well. So you don't need this one on your record. All right, you don't need this one. He ain't worth it, right? Let Hayden do Hayden things and move on. They said a whole bunch of other stuff talking about, sexing themselves up the ladder, talking about Andi and all of this stuff. And she was like, that's a female move, or a female trait, rather. And he was like, no, you need to tell your girl Andi about that. And she was like, she ain't in this conversation. We're talking about you bringing in Miss Marie. So he starts to talk about her allies, talking about Robin, talking about Miss Marie and all of this good stuff. At the end of the day, bro, you're not winning this situation. And honestly, deep in my heart, I believe that Hayden already knows that. But when you're getting ready to go out, you got to take some other people with you so you can feel better about the situation. And I think that's what he's trying to do. Like, if I'm about to fall, some other people going to fall with me. But bro, you about to fall. You're about to fall on your own, man. Definitely if you did what we think you did. Well, hold on, wait a minute. Was he there? No, I don't think he was at the hospital with the syringe, but he could have been definitely there with the knife. Now, he could have been there for that, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, right? So anyhow, from there, Fatima leaves the office, and then she decides to go to the boardroom to call her fiance, Zach. Now, Zach is at home as usual, doing no work. Like, he's non-working Zach, right? So he's at his crib, picks up the phone. He's talking about making some Zaccos or some tacos or something, whatever he called it, right? So after they laugh it up a little bit, she was like, look, all jokes aside, I don't know if I can handle this anymore with the surprises or whatnot, because there's too much going on right now here at this place. A whole lot of foolishness going on right now, and I feel like something is about to go down. And he's like, look, don't concern yourself. Let's just meet up and talk about it, right? So we'll talk about it at a later time, not right now. So anyhow, we head over to Karen's new salon, where we see the chorus is still singing the same old song. Let's get some new lyrics, y'all. Rooster Riches wrecks your edges is tired. I'm tired of it, right? And we don't even know if the product ended your edges. The only one that we seeing there with the edges like that is you at this point in time. Everybody else's hair look pretty good, right? As far as I can tell. So why are they mad? Or did they just want to join in the choir as well? I'm not sure. So anyhow, here comes Trey walking in like, what's going on? And Pamela's like, oh, Trey, I'm so glad you're here. We need somebody here to protect us. Woo, woo, woo. Now, old girl is like, I hope you're not bringing in some of that Rooster Riches poison, talking about the products or whatnot. And it was like, huh? So Karen is like, look, I'm trying to be civil with y'all about this situation, but at the same time, I need y'all to get up out of here. So then old girl turns to Karen and she's like, look, I ain't going nowhere until I get what's owed to me. And what's owed to you are your baby hairs on your side. Not that 400K, because you ain't going to get it. So going on from there, man, we head over to the law firm where we see Hayden coming in to check in on Fatima, who has just gotten off the phone with Zach. So he comes in and he's telling her that she might want to be careful about minding her own daggone business at this time, because you thinking that you going to help your friend out and all this stuff, that ain't going to work. Fatima tells him, or actually reminds him rather, that Andi is the reason that Miss Marie brought all of her business over there to the firm to begin with. So what you think you're doing, Hayden, isn't going to work, Hayden. I just need you to understand that, Hayden. But Hayden doesn't understand it, Fatima. Obviously, he thinks he has the upper hand. All right? So he goes on to tell Fatima that Andi no longer works there. So you work for me now. So then Fatima is looking at him like, bro, you just don't understand. Like, what you're doing right now isn't going to work out well for you at all. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on over to Andi's crib, where we see her, just getting off the phone when she was receiving that text message, standing there with a confused look on her face. So she's saying to herself, and herself said, Jordan, what did you do that night? So now her mind is going back to the night of the wedding, where she's thinking back what was stated to her when Jordan came to her that night and kissed her and told her, let's run away. Let's get away from all of this. We don't have to deal with this, because if you don't deal with it, then I will deal with it. And then he walks off. So she's thinking in her head, did he possibly do something? And then she talks herself out of it. No, he didn't do that. No, he wouldn't do that. And I'm like, daggone it, Andi, I'm confused. I'm confused too. Did he do it or did he not? But I don't think it was him. I could be wrong, but I don't think it was Jordan, right? I don't think he don't seem like that type of person with that knife. Secondly, I do not believe that Gary would have allowed Jordan to get that close to him. And you know, it's crazy because my wife and I, when we first got married, we used to look at a ton of First 48, right? Crazy, right? So most of the time when it was a crime like that, when it was dealing with the knife, right? In those types of situations, it was typically more personal. Somebody was trusted, you know. So I'm assuming, just with my criminal mind here, you know what I'm saying, my expert mind here, that it had to be somebody that Gary knew. But we also know that we're dealing with Tyler Perry. So anything is possible, right? But I'm just saying, it had to be somebody that Gary trusted. So anyhow, going on from there, we now head back over to the restaurant where we see Danny, you know, conveying to, you know, Sabrina that she feels as if Tony sees her as a project. And she tells Sabrina that she loves the way that she is right now. Like, I love my job. I love everything about me. I love the way that I am right now. So, no, I'm not a project. Now, Sabrina tells her that there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, unless you're lying to yourself. So now Danny is like, okay, what did you mean by that? Like, what are you saying to me right now? Now, Sabrina is trying to not say the wrong thing. So she's attempting to say just enough to get her point across, but not say too much. And that's a dangerous place to be because you can't really be authentic in your conversation. But I think she's doing just enough to get her thoughts across. Now, in all of this, Danny actually brings up something that we can actually discuss here. She states, why is it that when a woman is attempting to change a man, keyword change, is called controlling, but when he does it, it's called helping? And I'm like, I like that, Tyler. I really do. I think that's a great conversation to have. Now, if I was just looking on the outside looking in, which we are, I do not believe that Tony is actually trying to change who Danny is. If I was to be honest with y'all, just on the outside looking in, I believe that Tony actually loves this woman for who she is. 100%. That's what attracted her to him. Well, of course, her physical attributes. But at the same time, after you get past all of that, then you have the person. You strip them of everything and you see the person. And I think, honestly, he's in love with the essence of Danny. So now that I've stripped you down, all the way down, and I see the core of who you are, and I've learned things about you that I did not know before, now I can say, you can be great at this if you applied yourself differently. That's not me trying to change you. That's me encouraging you to do more than what you're doing. Be better at what you're great at. That's not me trying to change who you are. I'm just simply seeing something that you've never seen yourself being able to do because you never tried to put an effort at it, Danny. So he sees something in you that you don't see, but you're not willing to put the time nor the effort into it to make yourself better. So instead of you looking at it from that aspect, you're thinking that he's trying to control you. No, he's not trying to control you. He's just confused by why you don't want to do more for yourself. If you love yourself like you said you did, dang it, then make yourself better for yourself. I just don't get it. Man, we'll have to talk about that later. So anyhow, going on from there, next we head over to see Zach and Fatima. Now, Fatima's come in for lunch or whatnot, so she got about 30 minutes to, tell Zach how she's feeling, how everything is going down at work, how she's so frustrated about how Hayden is handling situations or whatnot, and then this whole situation with Robin, is just too much going on. Now, Zach is like, look, do you want me to handle it? Because I can handle it in my way. She was like, no violence. We just gonna handle this the way that I see fit. I can handle him. Now, if anything, we need to figure out what's really going on, and we're going to do that. But in the meantime, Zach is like, look, since you're here, let's go ahead and add a few more people to the list, on the suspect list. So he brings out a picture of Robin, and Fatima's like, so you're getting ready to add him to the list? He was like, exactly. And she was like, well, if you're doing that, you might as well add Miss Marie. So now Zach is sitting over here like, for real? And she was like, what? He was like, so Gary was clapping AARP too? I was like, daggone, Zach, for real, bruh. So I get it. But she was like, no, actually what happened is their history together comes from, when Gary first got started, she and some partners of hers invested in Gary's business or whatnot. So that's where that history comes from and not what Zach was talking about. So that was comical. That was great. Going on from there, we now head over to Andi's crib, right? So at Andi's crib, she's standing there anticipating the arrival of Jordan. Now, when the elevator dings, I was like, okay, who is it? Maybe it's just not Jordan. Maybe it's somebody else. And it just so happens to be someone else along with Jordan. Now, obviously, he did not tell her that he was bringing a +1. So in walks his sister Penelope in the front, and she got this look like it's not going well, Andi. So Andi's like, oh Jordan, I'm glad to see you. And Penelope gets in front of Jordan, and she was like, So she was like, what's good? What's going on? So then Penelope jumps in front of Jordan, and she looks at Andi like, don't try to do all of that. Don't think that you and Gary can do these evil and conniving things to people and think you can just get away with it. Andi is like, what in the world are you talking about? She was like, don't play me. And Andi is like, no, I really don't know what you're talking about. Now, Penelope, she ain't playing you. She's serious. She really doesn't know what you're talking about right now. I'm telling you, I can vouch for her, right? So as Andi is standing there pleading her case with Penelope, asking for Jordan to speak up and tell her what he knows or whatnot, Penelope is placing her purse on the table. See, this proves my point, ladies and gentlemen. If you see somebody putting stuff down, taking off clothes, more than likely they're getting ready to do something to you. And for some strange, odd reason, Andi doesn't pick up on that. See, that's what I was saying before. Penelope, she just doesn't know. She just doesn't know, Penelope. Don't take it out on her. That ain't right, Penelope. That's not right. You should have never put... She had it coming. Oh my gosh. Now, Penelope, you're not supposed to be going around hitting people like that. And Jordan, you should know better. Like, you should not allow your sister to come up and mollywop somebody like that. Look, that's the end of the episode, y'all. I gotta go. I cannot deal with this. The way he allowed that woman to mistreat that other woman, his girl, his fiance, or should we say Gary's ex-fiance, right? Like, whatever, his woman, right? So, how you allow that to go down like that in your face, bro? But anyhow, with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit that's going down. I will see you guys later on tonight. Peace.